Hello, everybody. Welcome to my show. My name is Laurie Smith, and this is Survivor Midweek Check-in. I had to change it from Saturdays to a weekday because I'm working on the weekends now. But I'm glad to be here. Glad to be back. I haven't been broadcasting for a while. Lots going on. I'm working a part-time job and finally got a job. Thankfully, I'm trying to just to not become homeless. And have been since December 2019, so it's been a rough ride. And this is just a show that I like to do for survivors of abuse who, may be isolated and just have no validation, and you just to hear from somebody who understands how hard it is. So that's why I do this show. And I started doing them a while back, but I sporadically kind of do them, and I keep trying to do them on a regular basis, but things always come up. But I've been pretty busy working that new job. And then last Tuesday, we had the Hope Collaborative um, Riverside Family Services webinar workshop, which was great. My co-sister advocates, Donna Shear and Lee Roberts, were with me on that. And I got to tell my story, which I said I was telling all of our story, which was really a great honor. And we then talked about the importance of talking about child abuse and why it's so important for people to get involved and keep this from getting shoved back under the carpet. So it was great. I'm glad that we got to participate, and it was it was a great opportunity, just another opportunity, to be a voice out here in this mess for children, right? So that was great. And we've been doing our own shows, Advocates United for Humanity. That's who I volunteer with, and AU4H, and we're on YouTube here as well. AU4H Radio, we're calling it, because we take the videos, turn them into audios, and put them everywhere as streaming radio, so people can listen if they don't want to watch the video. And we put it everywhere, like it's all over the place. And we focus not just on child abuse issues on that show on AU4H Radio, but we do actually cover a lot about child abuse, and because that's always been part of our mission, probably the bigger part of our mission is to stop and prevent child abuse. And so that's been great. So we've been doing more broadcasting there, and we'll be doing so. We're doing a show tonight actually, and tonight we're looking at child abuse and the mental health connection, and that's at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be on for an hour, probably an hour and a half, talking about the issue of child abuse and what the survivors have to go through. And hi, Purple Hearts One. How are you? I'm glad you could be here. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And so are you. um, yeah, no, just try to do what you can. This is the issue. It's hard to do. It's hard to deal with the issues of child abuse, and a lot of people just don't want to hear about it, don't want to touch it, because it's really a depressing topic. Nobody wants to talk about it. And for the survivors of abuse who are left, struggling and coping, trying to cope from being abused, where do you go? Who do you talk to? And that's why I do this show, because I found, through the years on my healing journey, found a lot of resources out there that are free, and that you can get involved, and you can, even if you don't want to be, a public person like myself talking about your story. The issue is you can anonymously get help, which is great, because that's what I did in the beginning, and because I just wasn't sure about all this stuff, and I went on online, got an anonymous support group, and it was great. Even a lot of the support groups, even if they're not anonymous, you don't have to give your name, your real name. You can use a fake name, and you can get help, right? So I just like to be one more voice out here for people. So it helps me out too, because as a survivor of abuse, of child abuse, there's really no support. Where's the support going to come from? It's not coming from my abusive, toxic family, that's for sure. And there's only one person left in my family, and we don't talk. So it's kind of, I have to look for outside resources. Obviously, it's tough. It really is. And so that's why I like to do this show. And today I thought what we talk about is self-worth, because that's so important. I think everybody struggles with self-worth at some point in their life, maybe. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people. But survivors of child abuse quite often have issues dealing with self-worth and self-love, self-care, all of this stuff. And it's so important in this life. Um, as children being abused, our needs weren't met. Quite often, abused children are told that they're, not worth love, not worth care, or shown that. So even if they're not told that verbally, they're shown that through actions and neglect and abuse. And so then as adults, we're sitting around trying to figure out how to do this. It's like, well, how do I do this? How do, am I worthy of love? Am I worthy of the same, care that somebody else is? And what it, I struggled with that for years, self-worth, and always feeling lesser than, and all the way through my childhood, through my teens, um, through my young life, 20s, 30s, started to get a little bit more confident with myself. Later in life as an adult, still felt a little bit lesser than always. And it's kind of like, wow, that's not okay. It's just not. Like, I started to do, especially looking in at John Bradshaw's books and Healing the Shame That Binds You, or what is it? Healing the Shame That Binds You, yeah. And the other one, Homecoming, Healing the Wounded Inner Child, or whatever. They're on the bookcase over there, but I can't quite see it. But they're a little too far away. But I've read through those books several times, and that those were great, great books to talk to really show me what I had missed out on and what I had been through. I was like, well, I totally relate to all of that because that's exactly what my situation was. And I'm like, and then he talks about the repercussions of all this stuff. And it's just like, wow, I don't deserve to be treated like I'm lesser than by anybody, and especially not by myself. Like, and that's the issue, because a lot of times the world is what it is. It's a mess. It's like, even before COVID-19, it was a mess. Now it's really a mess. Um, it's always been not a nice place. You know what I mean? So the issue is like, as after reading his stuff, and especially his stuff, and Robert Burney, he's another one. Robert Burney, he talks a lot about codependency and self-worth and self-love and stuff like that. He's really an interesting guy. He's an author, and he's written a book called Codependency: The Dance of Wounded Souls, which was really, really good and very helpful. He sent me a copy. A friend of mine actually paid for him. They paid for this book and had it sent to me from Australia, and he signed it. He literally wrote a little letter for me and signed it. Really nice, very, very cool. So that was, his information is very, very helpful. And I started to look into this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, no, I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of care. I'm worthy of all the stuff that everybody else is worthy of. Why do I hold myself, that in that lower than, place that, and it's because I was wounded and abused as a child and made to feel that way and told that I was worthless, by people that were supposed to love me and care about me. I have my good friend Donnie here. Hey, Donnie, how's it going? Oh, that's awesome. Right on. I'm glad you're here. And I always enjoy your posts and your nice comments to me. You're such a good friend. And I just love you dearly. I love all my friends very much because you're my family, right? So, so this issue of self-worth, self-love, it's just so, so important. Like, you know, I had to go back and in going back and looking at all this stuff and realizing where this stuff came from, why I was doing what I was doing, why I was seeing myself differently, than I should have been, and realize what was going on. I started to do this sort of self affirmation type stuff. No, I am worthy. I am worthy of the same things that everybody else is worthy. But it took me a long time to believe it, because I would say it with these affirmations. I am worthy. I do count. I do matter, but I didn't believe it. But after a while, it started to change the way that I thought about myself. And I thought, yeah, no, okay. So if the world doesn't love me, well, that doesn't matter. My parents didn't love me. Now that hurt. It really hurt. And that's why I'm so screwed up, obviously. It's like being rejected by the people who are supposed to love you, treated like crap. And it's like, so yeah, that they hurt me bad. But the thing is I had to say, okay, just because they rejected me and they didn't love me and they really didn't, and they didn't care about me, that has to not take precedence in my life as an adult survivor of child abuse. It's kind of like, okay, they didn't love me, but I love me. The world may not love me. I don't care. I love me. And that became my focal point. And I started to change the way that I really felt about myself. And it really helps in the way that I handle myself. And it helps with my coping mechanisms. Because quite often, as survivors of abuse, not all, but some survivors of abuse, have difficulties coping with many things in life. And especially when we're struggling, things just aren't going well. It's kind of like, oh, here we go again. I'm so used to, because I grew up abused from zero to all the way through. I'm just used to things not going well, things just being horrible. And so in my adult life, if things aren't going well for a period of time, they're just, I'm struggling, in every situation, financially, health, whatever it is, job situation, relationship stuff. It kind of takes me back to that whole thing of growing up abused and this whole thing of like, you know, it's too hard to deal with. It's too much. Um, and and that's just because that's the way I started out life. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, oh, I'm back here again. Okay, I see now. Life sucks. You know what I mean? And that's a sad situation for so many people because like life is hard. It really is. It's even hard for people that weren't abused. Let's just remember that. I know people who were not abused as children who had great childhoods who struggle in life too. And so it's not just because we were abused as children that we're having difficulties. Difficulties can come upon anybody at any time. Like I said, like I'm always talking about. It could be financial stuff. It could be health, your health kind of going downhill. It could be, anything in life, a death of a close friend. I mean, or a family member. Anything just knock us back for a loop, and backwards, and we're just like, back down, and it's like, oh, this is harsh. And right now, with everything that's going on, I think a lot of people are struggling. People that are used to struggling are struggling. I'm used to struggling because I've been struggling my whole life, so this is what I do. But which is sad. Sometimes I coast for a few years, and I'm like, oh, I like this. I like this coasting kind of, but it doesn't. It never lasts, and it's only for a brief time. And it's kind of like, oh wow, that's too bad. I was really kind of having a good time there finally. So it's hard. These things are very, very hard. At the end of the day, like I talked about on a previous show a while back, probably in, I don't know, February or something, I did several shows on, the issues of at the end of the day, I truly just have to be okay with who I am and with the capabilities that I have because I'm stuck with that. I can't, I'm stuck with this, right? With the imperfect, messy, wounded, and not perfect person. That's me. So I thought, I need to love me, for who I am right now, regardless of what the world thinks, regardless of what other people think in our lives, regardless of what I personally don't care what strangers think. Obviously, I come on and do these shows. I'm like, whatever. It's like, I'm just talking. If you don't want to listen, that's okay. Yeah, I just don't care. But the thing is like sometimes it does hurt because it's people that are close to us. We want them to feel a certain way about us or whatever, or not see us in a certain light. And we can't do anything about that. People will see us how they see us. And at the end of the day, we have to be okay with who we are. And it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, you know, because that little part of me that's still there, that wounded little child that I was, so many years ago, being abused as a child, um, grew up without any real love or care, and had this family just barrage. I mean, everybody was abused in my family. It wasn't a situation where it was just me. I mean, I had 7 siblings, and they were all abused by both of my parents. So the issue is I was just the last one. My parents were really good at it by the time I came around. They were just like pro abusers. They were like, yeah, we know how to mess our kids up. This one will be a real treat. And that's what they did. And they screwed with all of our heads, and they abused us physically. And it was an absolute nightmare. And so the siblings we didn't stick together. Nobody was good to each other as siblings. So I didn't have any support there. And so this little wounded person that I am really just wants to be accepted, wants to be loved, wants to be cared about. Not any more than the next guy or the next person. It's not about that. It's just the issue that this little wounded person that I am says, I'm here, you know, I'm here. Love me. I'm here. Care about me. I'm here. Acknowledge my life. Acknowledge who I am. And so the world a lot of times won't do that for whatever reason. You can't get that from other people. It has to come from inside. I found that out as I'm getting older and reading a lot of stuff, really checking it out. It's like, yeah, no, it's got to be a self love, because the world is fickle. people are, people are who they are. They say hurtful things and do hurtful things. And um, at the end of the day, when I lay down my head down on the pillow to go to sleep, I have to be okay with who I am. And that includes all of that woundedness and all of the imperfections and all of it. I have to be okay with that in order so that I can love myself, and I can get through this life. I can wake up in the morning and I can say, hey, well, things aren't going that great, but it is what it is. And I do count. I do matter. I do love myself. And if nobody else does, too bad. That's what I say. That's what I say. Because it's like, I'm stuck with myself. We're all stuck with ourselves. And that's the issue. So as a survivor of abuse, it's really important to realize, like, yeah, you do count. You do matter. You are worthy of love. And if you've got nobody around you that loves you, then you really need to love yourself and not worry about anybody else. Make sure you start to learn how to do that. That you are worthy of love, and that you are worthy of care and concern, and everything that everybody else is worthy of. So it's just so important. And I think right now, because people are so isolated, things are bizarre on the planet right now. Survivors of abuse may be feeling like, you know, really isolated. Things were bad before, but it's like now it's like, wow. So that's why it's important to, look for those good relationships with good people who don't tear you down and don't try to, maybe be of assistance or help to you, but then it comes with conditions. Those are not real friends. And those are also not real helpers. Those are just people just thinking they're doing a good job, but making things worse. Hi, Pasagio Olivello. How are you? I hope you're having a good night. It's been a little while since I've been around. And yeah, it's just, I'm going to try to go every Wednesday now. This will be my midweek check-in instead of the weekend check-in because I'm working on the weekend. So I had to move it to a weekday show. So I'm going to try to do every Wednesday at this time. So hopefully try to be here just to be a support. And, like I say, if you need resources or info, things that I may be able to help you with in your area, I can try to help you find resources. Just look at my about section down there. You can contact me, and I don't mind doing that. And it's just good to have another person who, to try to help find stuff that you may need, right? And yeah, I hear you, Donnie. And it is kind of a one day at a time thing, right? Because every day is different and we face different. Like I say, some days are better than others for most people. I mean, life gets in the way. Things may be going good for a little while, and then it's just like, God, this sucks. And that's how I've been lately because my health is not great. It's not so much my health, my mobility. I'm having a hard time walking, and I'm trying to work, and I got to catch the bus, and I'm trying to get to the bus, and I'm like hobbling along in pain and misery. But not every day is good, right? So the issue is like it is a one day at a time thing. Like I said about a few weeks ago, I was thinking I just want to give up. I just want to just give up. just that's it. I give up. I'm done trying. But that was my little pity party, and I needed to feel those feelings, and that was okay. And I was talking about that on that last show. If you want to watch that, I needed to go ahead and allow myself to feel the feelings, and that's what I've been doing since I started my healing journey in 2009. And allowing myself to do like as I'm walking along in this journey here, in which I have made a lot of progress, like I said, but I still have those days where it's not so good, and I'm like, well, I just this is not one of those good days, and I just allow myself to feel those feelings. If I need to be grumpy, whatever, I'm not hurting anybody or myself. But if I need to have a little bit of a pity party, I just do. And I'm like, that's okay. I need to cry. All right, whatever. Or I need to, sit back and just be grumpy or whatever on my own terms, on my own time, and allow myself to feel those feelings. But I don't stay there anymore. And that's the issue. I just allow myself to feel what I need to feel and say, well, you know what? Tomorrow's another day. Just try again. And that's what I do. And it is a day-to-day walk. I mean, that's what everybody's doing. It's hard. And that's why I'm saying, like, every night at the end of the day, we're stuck with what we've got. It can't. And sometimes we think we need things to change, and we want things to change right away. And we're like, I need to feel better now, especially when we're in pain, we're suffering, not even just physical pain, but emotional pain and emotional trauma from abuse, even from so long ago, for so many people who still suffering with that, which I partially am. Like, I've done a lot of healing work, but it doesn't mean that I'm healed. I'm well. Things are great for me. No. I have those days where it's not so good. Mother's Day is coming up for me, and I don't do well on Mother's Day. Every time I see those posts of your mother, you should always love your mother, and I'm just like, for me, I see those posts and I'm like, kind of makes me angry. Not that other people love their mothers. I think that's wonderful because they must have good mothers, and that's great. I'm happy for them. But I see it and I think of my mom, and that just pisses me off. It's just like, I don't miss my mother at all. I'm sorry, I really don't. My mother hurt me, wounded me, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and in every way. And was my main abuser. So I felt sorry for her a lot of times because she was a victim herself in the whole thing. But the thing is she never, ever, ever took accountability for what she did. Never. Not even on her deathbed. No. I was sitting there with her, me and my sisters were there. And so yeah, Mother's Day, not good for me. Father's Day, there's another one. It just pisses me off when that day comes around because everybody's like, oh, I love my dad and dads are great. And I'm just like, my dad's a fucking asshole. You know what I mean? And it's like, sorry, that's just the truth. That's my world. That's my world. So yeah, there's days that are really hard. And, it's a one day at a time thing. And well, that's good. I'm glad you did. And I'm glad, Donnie. And that's so important to realize, like, when we're struggling like that, the first thing you do is go get help. Absolutely. I know that for myself now because I used to be there. I was there and for 42 years. Well, 32 years of my life, from about the age of 10 to 42, I was suicidal. And I wanted to end my life. I mean, let me tell you, I tried. I had every idea you can imagine going on. And the thing is, I'm not even going to go into that detail here and give people ideas. The situation is, at the age of 42, I was like, no, I'm going to live. I'm going to live. That's my payback to my abusers. I'm going to live, and I'm going to do well as best as I can in my own capacity. To me, this is doing well. I got a roof over my head. I got some food. This is great. I'm happy. Let me tell you, a lot of people don't have that. They're going to die today. So the issue is, you know, I stay alive. I do well. I treat myself well. I treat others well. I'm having a good life, and that's my revenge on my abusers. It's so funny because they're dead. They're long gone. They're in the ground. They had horrible, horrible lives, and they could have had such a great family. They could have had this wonderful relationship with their children. All these 7 children that they had, and they could have just had this wonderful, loving family. They destroyed it. They did. My parents were responsible for that. Absolutely. And at the end of their deathbeds, neither one of them took responsibility for it. No, no, they didn't care. They just did not care. And it's like, so I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to care. And I'm going to care about myself. I'm going to care about others. And I'm going to care. And I'm going to just do the best I can in this life. And I'm going to have a good life. And I'm not going to hurt myself. And I'm not going to commit suicide. And I'm going to live. And like I said, every single day that I wake up is a slap in my abuser's face. I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm still here. I'm doing good. And it's a slap in their faces every single day. So that's why I decided I'm staying alive as long as I can. And I'm winning this fight. It's my victory. I've already won, you know. 2 of my brothers committed suicide. And, they lost. They lost the battle. My parents won on that. And the rest of the family was like, they were just losers anyway. My family was just so screwed up. It's like, you know what? No, I'm like, no, I'm determined now. I'm like, no, I'm going to stay alive. And if I can't cope one day and I'm just one night, whatever, and I'm so down, I can't do it because I've been there. I know how hard it is. I'm making a phone call. I'm calling because I am not going to be destroyed by my abusers. No way. No way. Mm-mm. No, that was my victory. The moment I decided to live and to stop self-sabotaging and to stop, contemplating suicide, that was my victory right there. I was like, yeah, I won. Those buggers. And it's a great feeling. It really is. Because that propelled me at the age of 42 to start reaching out and get help, right? And literally get my needs met. I'm like, okay, I need help. I need help. I just, I can't do this by myself. I seriously need help. So I started reaching out, and all these hands came back to me, and they were like, we can help you, you can do it, right? And all of a sudden I had all this support from all these wonderful people and that are still in my life today. My good friends, right? Which I consider my sisters, these are people that just, they were there for me when my own family wasn't. And they're still there for me. And it's a wonderful feeling. So that's why I tell people, if you're struggling and you're having a hard time, you need to reach out. You need to not give up. Don't let those abusers win this fight. No. Like, I wish my brothers were still alive today. I really do. It always broke my heart what my parents did to my siblings, not just to me, you know. I was the youngest and I saw like the whole thing. I just witnessed all of this abuse that all my siblings took too, on top of myself. And I'm just like, they didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve that. And yet 2 of my brothers killed themselves. And I was heading the same way. Well, we all grew up in the same house. That's why I called my whole thing Born in Hell, because it was. It was hell on earth, man. It was my parents' hell. They were like, oh yeah, welcome to our hell. Yeah. Buggers. So anyway, yeah, they're gone. They're dead, and they had horrible lives. Me, I can actually honestly say I'm really thankful to be here today. And I didn't used to be, let me tell you. And I'm glad to be able to, you know, speak out against this stuff and to, you know, just try to be some sort of support for people, because there's so many people that just really, they just don't know and they don't care, you know. And you know, that's just the world. It's full of people, some that do care, some that don't, you know. And it's like, yeah, so it's so important. I found a whole group of people that care, awesome people. So that's what I'm saying. There are good people out there. You just have to be really careful who you tell your information to and who you get involved with, like what groups. That's why I always recommend like the ASCA, Adult Survivors of Child Abuse, because that's a totally safe group. They are awesome. There's also SIA, Survivors of Incest Anonymous. That's another one. It's a safe group. And there's all kinds of good groups out there, all kinds. Just, you know, find one that works for you, you know, and then get some help. Don't struggle on your own if you're a survivor of abuse of any type and you're just really struggling. You know, don't struggle. Don't struggle on your own if you don't want to. There's help out there, right? So this whole thing of self-worth and self-love, we deserve to have our to get help, to get our needs met. And whatever those needs may be, we deserve the same opportunity to go after those needs, to, you know, to help us in our life, right? And so it's important to make sure that we keep going, keep doing it. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. Actually, no, it was Monday, and my doctor's going to get me some X-rays tomorrow, and for my hips, because my hips are really bad. I can't hardly walk anymore, like I was saying. So I've got X-rays and some pain management shots, whatever they decide's best, for my hips, which will be hopefully helpful. But just I'm learning how to get my needs met. Years ago, I would have just not dealt with it. But now, because I'm learning how to do this, I'm learning to first of all assess my needs and figure out what they are, and then start working on getting them met little by little by little. Like we said, a lot of times we need help, like right, we want things to happen now because they really need to. But it doesn't usually work that way. We've got to kind of you got to keep working at it just little by little, you know. And what I did is I started making a list of the important priority stuff in my life that I needed to happen, and you know, just make that list and just start going through and checking it off, you know. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm addressing that, you know, this I can't do anything about right now, sort of thing, you know what I mean? But at least it gives us a starting point of the really important stuff that we need to start working on, you know, whatever that is in your situation. And just, you know, start taking it off and realizing that, yeah, you have the right to get your needs met. You really do, just like everybody else. So if you're struggling and having a hard time, you know, thinking, well, you know, I'm just not worthy anyway, and nobody cares, and you know, because it's true, a lot of people don't care. Most people don't. It's kind of sad. It's kind of, even, you know, even the doctors don't care. You know, I mean, you know, a lot of times they really don't. What are you going to do? I found a pretty decent doctor, so that's good. But my other doctor, my last doctor, was horrible. I had to leave her. I was like, oh my God, she's not doing anything for me. She literally told me to my face, I'm not doing anything for you. And I'm like, well, you're the doctor. You're supposed to be helping me. She's just like, no, you know, I'm not doing anything for you. I'm like, well, I'm going to go get another doctor. The X-rays are there. I've got massive damage to my body, physically, physical damage. And it's like, they know, they can see the X-rays. They got the proof right in their hands. And they're just like, yeah, you've got advanced arthritis and all sorts of problems. And I'm just, but they're like, oh, but you know, you're fine. Go away. Go away. You're just bothering us, you know. But this doctor finally is doing a few things for me. I got a cortisone shot for my ankle, which does help. It's not perfect, but at least I can sort of manage to walk on it. And now I got to get my hips numbed or something. I don't know what they're going to do, but some sort of pain management. But hopefully I'll be able to walk. Like, this is the issue. I have no idea. Like, I'm trying to stay walking. I'm trying to stay out of a wheelchair. Is what I'm trying to do. Even though I'd rather be in the wheelchair because it's so freaking painful. But the thing is I don't want to be in a wheelchair. You know? So I want to keep walking as long as I can, and it's hard. These things are so hard, right? And um, that's what I'm saying. We have to just work on little by little, whatever they are in our life, financial stuff. I mean, so many people are struggling with all of that stuff. That's me right now. My husband just passed away. Didn't have a job for like 16 months. Financially, I'm just screwed. My health is going downhill, but I still have an internet connection. So that's why I'm still doing these shows. I'm like, hey, as long as I got the internet, I'll just try to, try to be some sort of support for people because it's tough. I know how hard it is. I see these people on the street. I live downtown Calgary, and I see all the homeless people down there, and a lot of them are drug addicts. Just like my brothers were. They were all home. My brothers were homeless here too, running around, drug addicts, eating out of garbage bins and stuff. And it's hi, Melissa. How are you? I hope you're well. I hope you're okay. And I'm glad to see you here. And yeah, this is the thing, I see this, I see them, and I can't, I mean, I understand possibly maybe where they've come from. But I'm not in their body. And I didn't experience what they experienced. My heart kind of can say, okay, they're probably in so much pain. These people, they're just like my brothers, drug addicts living on the street. I mean, that's, you know, um, never knowing love, really, never knowing that they deserved so much better than to end their lives as drug addicts on the street, which is how they ended their lives were because they committed suicide. So, not together, separately, many years apart. But the thing is I lost two of my brothers to suicide. So the issue is I see these young people out there, and those drugs that they're doing is just a slow suicide. That's all it is. So instead of just taking their lives, they're just doing those drugs because they know one day those drugs are going to take them out. That's what two of my brothers were doing, but they ended up killing themselves. So the issue is I see it, I know it, I actually understand it. I was there. I was a drug user myself years ago, and until the age of 22, from 12 to 22, so for about 10 years. And the thing is like I didn't care if the drugs took me. I really didn't care. That's why I was doing them. And also just because it helped me sort of escape my reality from the abuse that I was suffering at home. So it's kind of helped me to be high. And so the issue is like I was there just as a really young person, and I got off the drugs at 22, which was really really smart, and I never went back to them. Thank God. I have a nicotine addiction, which is I just cannot get rid of because it's my only real addiction, and I'm like, no, I'm hanging on to it. It's like my little safety blanket. It's like that's the drug I'm hanging on to. It's legal, but it's ridiculous. And the issue is like that's that whole thing that's that needy little wounded part of me that I'm trying to reach. It doesn't want to let go of that because they're like, no, I need this, I can't breathe, whatever the issue is. These little wounded children that I still have within me from the CSA child sexual abuse and all of it, right? So I know that's why I do it. But the thing is like I see these people out here. Most of the world just drives by and doesn't care, but I see them and I know their life is just crap. And I wish there was a way to reach them, but until they want help, it isn't going to happen. And at the age of 42, the last time I was thinking about suicide, I was like, I'm the one that needs to start to care about myself. Yeah, my family hated me. They still, at that time, there's quite a few of them still living. I was like, they hate me. They don't, they were abused. They don't care, like whatever. Um, you know, my life is just shit. I was at the age of 42 sitting around, for the last time. And I thought, no, I am worthy of so much more than that. I never should have been abused in the first place. And neither should have you if you're a survivor of abuse of any type, really. It's not okay what happened. And it's not okay what was done to me either, you know. But at the end of the day, I have to be okay with me. So all of this stuff that I'm going through, which is just, years and years of not knowing how to cope, not making the proper right decisions for myself, Having difficulties with all sorts of things. It's like at the end of the day, I'm stuck with myself. And I have to realize, like, yeah, no, that stuff really, as an adult, I have to take responsibility for my adult stuff that I've done to myself. Absolutely. But as a child, I couldn't help what I had was forced to go through. That was not my fault. And so, you know, I have to be kind to that part of myself, that piece of myself that that's wounded part of myself, and not, um, you know, be, I guess, too harsh on myself. And that's what I'm trying to say. So at the end of the day, yeah, I'm stuck with myself. Absolutely. And, when I, before the age of 42, when I started reaching out to get help, and that's where all this stuff started and writing my books and all of this, um, I would sit around and I was in such a horrible place because I never dealt with any of it. I really felt that, yeah, I'm just a loser. I can't, you know, I can't do anything right. I don't even know how to do life, period. Right. And, and I knew where I came from. It's not like, because I was ever never in denial, really. It's just, I really, had to sit down and say, enough is enough. You know, I need to start loving myself, regardless of whether my abusers' parents ever loved me, which they didn't. Um, I need to, like, put that aside and say, you know what, that doesn't matter really. That doesn't really, that shouldn't hold any place in my life anymore. The fact is I love myself, even in my imperfection, like I said, in all of my problems and all of the things in my life that, most people would be like, man, your life sucks, And I'd be like, no, because I love myself and I have really good friends, and my needs are maybe, and my wants and desires are maybe a little bit different than a lot of people's. And so, I'm not looking for money, like I said, and I'm not looking for a house and all of this stuff. It's too much for me to try to take care of anyway. It's more peace, inner peace. That's what I was looking for. And that's what I've got. So it's a wonderful place to be. It's a nice place to be on this side of it rather than on the other side of it where I was for so long. And that's what I'm saying. That whole self-hatred thing. So instead of self-love, like, I've got self-love for myself now, which is compassion towards myself for what I went through, that little girl that I was trying to survive all that abuse and that horrible stuff, and just watching my family disintegrate around me, and and then not doing well myself, using drugs, which nobody forced them on me. I actually sought them out. You know what I mean? It's like nobody made me take the drugs. I actually did them myself. My brothers used to give me drugs when I was little, but that didn't really have anything to do with the whole issue. The issue was is that, I just needed something. And I was like, well, I need drugs. But my brothers were on drugs, so I just sort of followed suit. But the thing is just having compassion for that little wounded person that I was, that little girl that just needed love and just needed care. So I love her. That's me, that little wounded part of myself. I love her. I'm reparenting myself, you know what I mean? Properly, right? And it's so important, right? So I don't have that self-hatred anymore, but I used to. Man, bad self-hatred and self-loathing and loathing my body, loathing my whole, being a woman, loathing being a person on the planet. I was just loathing life. I hated life. And I was a person full of hatred, really. And, that's not good. That's not good. That'll kill you, you know? Oh, I'm sorry, Melissa. No, that's okay. I've been sort of off for a while too, doing other things, like for April Child Abuse Awareness Month, and I got a job, like a part-time job, so I haven't been around too much. But I hope you're okay. I really do. I feel that's awful. I'll be keeping you in my prayers. And I, if you need anything, if I can help you find resources, like I said, I hope you've got some help, to help you. You just take it easy. Don't worry about missing my shows. You can always come watch them if you want to another time, and I'll be around. Like I said, as long as I can have a connection, an internet connection, I'll always be doing shows. Yeah, and talking about these issues of, for survivors, and also child abuse prevention. It's just, as long as I have an internet connection, some way to do it, I'll be doing it. So don't worry about missing shows. You just take care of yourself, and I hope you have some help, like I said, because that's harsh, harsh. I feel bad for you. I really do. I hope that they can help you, the doctors, and, you know, so you just worry about yourself. You know, you just get yourself to a better situation. That's what you need to do. That's what I'm doing too. I'm slowly working on it. But yeah, you just take care. That's scary. Mm-hmm. It's funny. And like I said, who's he's just in his 40s, and yeah, that's just all. It's just saying, you know what, I do matter. I do count, and I deserve to get my needs met, no matter what they are. You know what I mean? We do. We count just like the next guy. So yeah. So that's why I said on a show not too long ago, this was a while back, but I was saying, you know what? As a survivor of abuse, hold your head up high. Absolutely. You know, we don't deserve to be looked down on. If anything, we're just a little higher, even though I don't like to be that type because I like to be a humble person. But the issue is for what we survived and what we've been through, if you're a survivor of any type of abuse, DV, domestic violence, whatever, child abuse, you hold your head up high because you survived and you're still here. And you did not deserve that. No. And the world likes to just blow that off and, oh, well, whatever, no big deal, And a lot of times the world doesn't have any place or any room for anybody who's not perfect, like they're perfect. You know what I'm saying? Whoever they are, these idiots out here who try to present themselves as being perfect. You hold your head up high because I do. And I walk as tall as I possibly can. You know what I mean? And it's just because I have been through hell and made it. Hell on earth and survived. And so that's that's an accomplishment. Absolutely. And to come out and to be able to still find joy in life and to be able to see the good stuff too, not just the bad stuff. I love to do lots of things, like I'm working on learning guitar. My guitars are over there. I love music. I love all sorts of things, and I actually enjoy life. And to come out of a situation of abuse and horrible stuff, and to be able to find peace, like Donnie said, peace and serenity in our own hearts are all that matter today. Bye, Donnie. I'm glad you could be here. Yeah, I'll see you around on the other side on Facebook later. You take good care, my good friend. I love you, dear. And thank you, everybody, for being here with me. I really appreciate it because I love you all. And, it's these things, like I said, to be able to survive what we survived, we don't need to be ashamed or feeling lesser than or feeling that we don't matter, we don't count. No. Like, seriously, survivors of abuse actually need a medal. We need a medal because we survived. You know what I'm saying? And if, nobody's going to give us that medal, but we can give it to ourselves. And we can say, you know what? Yeah, that was hard, never should have happened. But I don't deserve to have a lesser than life because, or a lesser than attitude because it was abused. That's not okay. And it's like, we should keep those goals and dreams. And if you have never made any dreams or goals, you should. Because life shouldn't be all bad. Because I grew up in crisis and chaos. And so as a teenager, I just kept that going. Because it's like, hey, that's what I know how to do. Crisis and chaos, drugs and, whatever. That was my life. That's what I did. And it's like I got into my 20s and, mid 20s and decided, okay, I don't want to necessarily do that for the rest of my life. I want to have a good life. You know what I mean? I want to have a normal, good life that I see other people living, right? Love and care and concern and maybe some cool hobbies, you know what I mean? Just stuff that, I used to would have thought was really kind of boring and because it wasn't excited and filled with all kinds of drama and violence and people hurting people, people getting hurt, Sometimes survivors of abuse will be almost addicted to um, that lifestyle because that's what they're used to. I decided I didn't. I decided really 2021. I was tired of it. Tired of the violence. Tired of the violence. I mean, my parents, you know, their whole marriage was violent, and some of my friends were in these domestic violence situations, which was then getting me beat up by their boyfriends because I was trying to protect my friends, and I'm like, I'm so tired of violence. I'm so sick and tired of it. I want a good life. So that's what I decided for myself. You know what I mean? But I never got any help with my child abuse stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it was, we have to make those choices. We really do. And it truly is up to us to say, what kind of life do I want? What kind of life do I want to have? It's my life. I need to be in charge of it, you know? And so what am I going to, what do I want? And really sit down and think about what you want and make those goals and make those plans. Even with COVID-19 going on, it seems a little bit silly because it's like, who knows what's going to be going on, you know what I mean? But we can still try, right? We can still try. And I think, for me, um, I mean, we're all different, right? We're all different. I'm getting old now, right? So it's like my goals would be a lot different than somebody who's younger, right? But for me, it was mainly just peace. I just wanted peace around me. I wanted peace around in my walls. My walls. My walls are peace. Like, and that's what I wanted. I was tired of the drama, tired of the screaming and the fighting and the throwing things and the breaking things and people getting hurt. And I saw that my whole life and I was sick and tired of it, man. And I'm like, that's not allowed around me. I don't even allow it around me. And I just don't. No, my walls are peace. So I'm very thankful and very happy to have peace surrounding me. You know what I mean? Um, as I needed that because it was killing me. All of that violence and all of that stuff just killing me. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. And then I stopped the self-sabotaging thing at the age of 42. And that's when sort of like I started working on getting this peace around myself, right? And it did take some time, but I thought, hey, I mean, I've been struggling trying not to be homeless for a year and a half here now. And especially since my husband passed away. But the issue is I thought, hey, even if I'm homeless, it's all going to still be about peace. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, no matter what I do in this life, where this life takes me, I know who I am. I know what kind of person I am. And I am not that, that violent kind of, you know, uh, sort of craziness seeking person, you know what I mean, that I used to be. So, I'm glad to be on this side of it. Let me tell you, it's, I had to make choices for sure. And what I was going to allow in my life, what it wasn't. And it has sort of changed things for me financially too, because I've left jobs because I was just, the environment was abusive. I was just like, I don't do that. I don't let anybody abuse me anymore. I don't care if it's a boss. I don't care who it is. Like nobody abuses me anymore because I'm the adult in the situation now, and I don't tolerate abuse from anybody. You know, and that is a good place to be, let me tell you. Because at the end of the road, when I'm done with my days here, I won this fight and I spent the last of it in a situation where my boundaries were set. And I don't abuse people and I'm not accepting abuse from anybody either. And so it's a good place to be, let me tell you. I had to like grow up myself, and I didn't have anybody to help me do this. That's why it took me so long. I would hope it doesn't take you so long. You know what I mean? If you're younger, hopefully it wouldn't take you that long, right? It took me a long time, right? So, whatever it is, whatever these things are in our life, we need to be good to ourselves. We really do. If you've been abused, You shouldn't have been. And it's like, you didn't deserve that. Neither did I. So then what? Do good for yourself. You know, don't continue on that destructive lifestyle. It's not okay. You didn't deserve that, and nobody does. So that's why I wanted to be a peaceable person because I grew up in violence, and I was just like, I'm not. I'm not that. That's not me because I'm love, and I'm a person who cares, and I'm a person that has love in my heart. So the abuse, my parents, the abuse, and all that stuff, I thought had killed me. I thought had killed my spirit because I think it really did. But the thing is I got that back, and that's awesome. It's such a great place because my parents never had it. I don't think they ever did. They so I was never shown that, but I got it. So it's like, yeah, I love myself. I love other people. I love this life, and I'm glad to be on this side of it, like I said. But I know what it's like to be on that other side. So if you're struggling and you're having a hard time, like I always say on all my shows, you reach out and you make a phone call. You call somebody. Do not be destroyed by your past. Do not let those abusers win, whoever they were, whoever they are. No. You win this fight. You have to stick it out. And and on those really hard days, it's hard. I know it is because I've been there. That's why I'm saying, that's why I'm doing this show. Because I know how hard it is. But that's what I'm saying. I even had to be hard on myself because I'm like, no, I am I have a day where I can't cope and I'm thinking that's it. I can't breathe. I can't do another 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? I'm picking up the phone and I'm making a phone call. Absolutely. Why? Because I'm winning this fight. And that's what I want you to do too. Because like I said, every day I wake up, it's a slap in my abuser's face. Every time I think about that, it makes me laugh. I'm like, yes, because I win. That's great. So you take really good care of yourselves. Do something good for yourself. You know, just breathe. Like I said, if I can help you find resources, let me know. Um, be good to yourself. Take good care of yourself. Till the next time, I'll be back around. I'm on tomorrow night with one of my biblical study shows, but I'll be back next Wednesday with the Survivor midweek Survivor check-in. So until then, take really good care of yourselves, everybody. Thanks for being here with me, everybody. I really appreciate it. I used to do these shows mainly all by myself and just record them and put them on here, and it was lonely. And I really appreciate you all being here with me. Very nice. So I wish you a wonderful day. And like I said, not all of us are going to have a wonderful day, and I know that. And so that's why, seriously, hang in there. Do not give up. Tomorrow could be better, right? That's what I always say. Well, tomorrow's another day, man. Try again tomorrow. That's what I've had to do most of my life. Kind of like, well, today was shit, but I'll try again tomorrow. And I wake up and I'm like, I'm still here. Those bastards couldn't kill me. You know what I mean? And it's my fight, and I win. And that's what I want for you too. So don't give up, my friends. Not ever. Take good care of yourselves till next time.